Welcome to Mortgage Talk 101 here on SuperTalk 1270. Time to look behind the numbers. Buying, selling, refinancing. Mortgage Talk 101 addresses real issues in real estate. Now, live from the SuperTalk 1270 studios, here's Mortgage Talk 101 host, Joe Sheehan.
And welcome to Mortgage Talk 101 with your body built for radio, saddling up the stainless steel microphone in the Mortgage Network with my co-host,
Dave Floor, Mr. Housing.
Yeah, oh, you're just.
Well, you made me get up early this morning.
I did.
And
I did.
I had a meeting with his staff, and then he tells me, "Oh, wait, sorry,
You're
it's a half hour later.
You're early.
You're early.
You're
so
early.
I had to get up early. So I'm okay. No, I'm
Which,
good.
you
No,
know,
I'm good.
the-
I'm
and-
good.
But the good news was that we didn't have that meeting till 10 o'clock. So. That's early for you government officials.
Yeah, something like that. Okay, I'm ready to go.
Sporting
now,
around the world in your
ready
hot
to go
tub
now.
meetings.
All right, I'm ready to go.
Well,
What's up?
we have a really difficult job here. Every Thursday morning, 11 o'clock.
Yep.
Making this fun.
Yeah,
Making real estate, mortgage, a couple of mortgage nerds.
Well, it's fun for us. I don't know about anybody else.
Yeah, well, it's tough.
Jim seems to enjoy it.
He does.
Yeah.
But we were listening to some of the ads coming in.
Yeah.
And how easy is it for Ryan Bart to have fun with
cars?
Yeah, with
cars
cars.
are fun.
Everybody wants to talk about cars. And
He's got the Mustangs over there. He's got the F-150s.
And he can run an ad like "Don't make your summer, don't have a
Cars
summer
are
that's a
fun.
bummer," and all this advertising.
He's got fun.
I was like,
Fun job.
I couldn't do ads that rhyme.
No,
Could you imagine that?
that
Don't be late, lock in your interest rate.
Yeah.
And you didn't know what doing.
No, that wouldn't work.
No,
It works great for a car
It works great for a car.
because it's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, and then here
cars
I
are
am on
fun.
the radio, and what do I got to do? I got to do boring ads.
Yeah.
I can't talk about what else would you don't let in a mouse get a new house.
Yeah, well, we got that one.
What? I mean, what am I gonna do? I got nothing.
Yeah,
I'm over here. He's got the Louisville Slugger. I'm sitting over here with the broomstick.
Yeah, your bat cracked, and you got it taped up with nails and tape. Yeah.
So making this fun is no easy.
We
job.
try.
We do. We are beleaguered over it.
Yeah.
Okay, so but
so what's going on?
Interest rates getting better today.
Yeah.
Definitely getting better.
Something about Portugal.
Well, the Freddie Mac primary mortgage market survey is worse this week than last week. It was coming in at 4.12 last week. Now they're at 4.15 on the 30-year fixed with 0.7 in points. The 15-year at 3.24 with 0.6 in points. But you got to remember that this is an average.
Yep.
But along this week,
starting yesterday, right?
bonds have almost erased all their losses from then and have gotten better. And so if this trend continued through next week, we could see the same rates that we saw at the 4.12 level or even better.
Yeah, we'll be back closer to that. Yeah.
But what is happening? Well, let's go to our friends at the Mortgage Market Guide, Bill Bodner, and we were talking about Bill. And
he's a seer. He's a
oracle. I call him the
prognosticator extraordinaire.
He really has been, and for those of you, we bring him on the show. We interview him at least once a year. He's very generous with his time, and it was about 2 years ago that we asked him point blank, Bill, how long could rates be this low? And he said, under 6%, 2020.
Under 5%, didn't he?
Oh, he said under 5%.
Under 5%,
2020.
It will last through the year 2020. So basically, he said 7 or 8 more years of where we're at.
I have quoted him in front of renowned economists, CEOs of multi-billion-dollar mortgage corporations. And every time I say that quote, you can imagine I get these cartoonish, bulged-eyed looks. And
You're crazy, man.
Who said that?
You're crazy. He's crazy.
Because even last night, my CEO sent me a financial prognostication for what's going on, an updated review of the economy with the negative GDP growth and everything that's going on, and of course it has prediction for what? For interest rates to go up again. Okay. And certainly they could, and they could go into the high 4s or maybe into the low 5s.
Yeah.
But Bill stepping out there going till 2020, and that was over 2 years ago, and we look at, and here we go. And my response to my CEO when he sent me this email going, well, we might want to adjust for interest rates going up. I said, listen, interest rates could certainly go up. However, we've for the first time seen a change in people's real unemployment status and the U6 unemployment rate, but still nobody's getting higher wages, which is why there's such a big fight for the minimum wage increase.
Yep.
And nobody's getting more money in their wages. And so what we also are seeing is people coming out of trying to retrain themselves with record levels of student loan debt in both older populations and younger populations.
We talked about that.
Which is constricting consumer spending, which all challenges growth in the GDP. Now, above that, today's mortgage market guide update, I said, so we are susceptible to any kind of foreign or domestic changes in the economy, and people will run back to these safe havens as long as they're there, and interest rates could still stay very low for a long time. So what happens this morning, right after I sent that email last night? Stocks around the globe are lower on news that Portugal's second largest lender has delayed debt payments. And the downturn in stocks is driving a safe haven trade into bonds and gold, which means better interest rates. Also, bad news out of China and Europe. Well, again, with negative GDP numbers and China and Europe having bad news economically, which threatens our export markets, where's our growth going to come from? If the American people aren't spending the money and our exports markets are being threatened,
it's all about supply and demand and all that good stuff. And
where are our interest rates going to go? Also helping bonds is some clarity yesterday. The Fed minutes clearly laid out plans to taper QE3. If the economy stays on track, the Fed plans to make a total $15 billion final reduction at its October meeting after cutting it by $10 billion at each Fed meeting up to that point for the Treasury and mortgage-backed securities. However, the Fed will continue to reinvest the principal payments on all agency debt and agency-backed mortgage securities. Okay, so but the final thing here is that when will they raise rates? Well,
the Fed overnight discount rate.
The Fed begins to raise the short-term Fed funds rate sometime in the first quarter of 2015 or possibly longer. There's just nothing on the horizon that says
this is going to prompt them to do this.
So,
do you think that the market, as far as bonds and mortgage rates and all this stuff, has already kind of priced that change into it already? That
absolutely.
Okay, the Fed has tapered. They're going to raise that overnight rate at some point. They're probably going to go up like 0.25% or something. The market's already factored all that in.
I honestly believe that what they're holding on for is to really see inflation move is really the jobs market backed by GDP. I think you got to have both those.
You got to have people willing to spend their money.
Yep,
and they got to be earning enough to spend it.
Exactly. So I really think it's going to be it's consumer spending.
Because we have to understand. I mean, this is good for us here in North Dakota because people are making money in North Dakota.
We're taking advantage of the counter trend.
Yeah, there is demand in North Dakota. Ryan Barth can sell a lot of cars in North Dakota today.
Pickup trucks.
And pickup trucks, especially pickup trucks.
And his summer won't be a bummer.
And his summer definitely won't be a bummer. All right, back after the break, we'll continue to talk. We got some stuff about mortgage risk, housing optimism.
We don't realize how stupid we are.
And we don't know how, I think, or maybe we did.
Well, you and I know, but.
All right, well, after the break, we'll be back. More Mortgage Talk 101.
Get the traffic and weather information you need anytime on SuperTalk 1270 and online at supertalk1270.com.
'Cause he gets up in the morning, then he goes to work at night, and he comes back home.
Jim's feeling kinky this morning.
It's the same train every time.
The Kinks.
But his world is built on punctuality.
I don't remember this song.
And he's
All right, well, where do we leave off? Interest rates could be low for a really long time. Bill Bodner, maybe, and we said this, he could be like the pitcher, too, that makes it to the bottom of the eighth inning and got a no-hitter going, and then all of a sudden gets shelled and gets pulled from the game.
But Twins relief pitcher comes in, and that's the end of the game.
Yeah, but it's going to be but right now he's on a great run.
Yeah, he's calling it. He's calling it.
So anyway, what do you got? What do you
got? I got our friend Elliot
Eisenberg.
I got a couple of his here this morning. Let's see. Let's go back to July 3rd. Actually, they always have the hot dog eating contest out at Coney Island.
It's very important.
Very important. Do you know when that started? Jim, you got a guess on when the hot dog eating contest?
1950s. I don't know.
1972.
Okay.
Oh.
But 1979 marked the start of the modern era of Nathan's hot dog eating contest.
How was it the modern era? What was
I have no idea.
Maybe they started using beef hot dogs.
Okay, the winner that year, Thomas stashed 19 hot dogs in 10 minutes. Appropriate name. Stashed the hot dogs. Now, by 2000, the record was 25 and a quarter. Or 25 and an eighth. Hey, we've got mortgage pricing on that.
My God.
In 2001, the great Takira Kobayashi, who won 6 straight championships, obliterated the record by eating 50. Since 2007, the champion has been Joey Chestnut, who downed an amazing 69 hot dogs, plus the bun, in 2013. And that was Elliot's happy fourth to us. Have you ever watched them?
Eat a hot dog?
Yeah, that is disturbing. I mean, those guys are up there chucking that stuff in. I don't know. I didn't see it.
Some
this year,
weird
so I have
Freudian
no idea.
imagery going on there.
Oh man, that is that's disturbing.
Just the whole
It's
thing.
disturbing.
Well, even didn't the on an off subject, didn't the man versus food guy quit?
Yes,
doing
he did.
This stuff.
You see him? He
Yeah.
lost. He looks like you. He lost gobs of pounds and
God help him if he looks like me.
yeah. Well, yeah, but he did. Yeah, he quit. Yeah, because
Yeah,
he said I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So anyway, well, I hope Joey won again. I
Okay.
have no coin in the game or
Not
anything. but,
Kobayashi.
yeah. Yeah. Well,
Thank you
maybe.
very much.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's always some little skinny kid
Oh,
or
yeah,
some real tall guy.
Yeah,
who
the
wins.
Kobayashi I remember was a little guy, and then
Yeah.
this Joey
What's that
Chestnut
got to
was
do to
skinny.
what's that got to do to your stomach?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Well, he doesn't do it on the regular basis.
No.
I read an interview, and he said he doesn't eat like that all the time.
Yeah.
That's something he trains for.
They transfer, yeah. Anyway, okay. No, Elliot had one from yesterday. Under display of bipartisan common sense rarely seen on Capitol Hill, short-term financing to help the virtually depleted Highway Trust Fund through next year seems likely. The Housing Highway Trust Fund is financed by a gas tax of 18.4 cents a gallon. It hasn't been increased since 1993, so 21 years now. Adjusted for inflation, it would now be 30 cents a gallon. And Elliott says the tax must be raised and electric hybrid cars must also be made to pay. No free riding. That's I've read that where that's a problem.
Well, could you imagine trying to be a politician who runs on that platform?
Yeah.
Raise the gas tax.
Raise the gas tax. But then you have these electric, the hybrid cars and electric cars that obviously are not paying as much. Yeah.
I promise to raise taxes,
But
unlike Reagan.
that's a huge deal across the country, though, too, is the highways are in rough shape. I think we could see something.
I think the direct quote on that was President Reagan is going to raise your taxes. The difference between us is he didn't tell you. He won't tell you, and I just did.
Yeah.
I think. And then I think it wound up. I think he wound up losing, right?
Yeah. Did he? Yeah.
But it's true. I mean, it wasn't that long. I mean, how long ago was it that the 35W bridge collapsed?
Oh, it was within 10 years, so
Yeah.
5 years maybe.
And we're getting warnings from all kinds of people saying that we have infrastructure needs like that all over the country. And if you're not keeping up with the cost of inflation on the taxes that you're pulling from, those are the things you pay taxes for.
Yeah, well, look what's in the western part of the state. Look what happened with the counties. Before they got some money to repair the roads, the trucks were beating those roads to smithereens, and
the bridges are the scariest thing.
the barrages are there too.
Bridges are the scariest thing.
We brought up the minimum wage earlier, and there was an article in the Wall Street Journal here about who really gets the minimum wage. The President Obama's $10.10 target, according to the article in the Wall Street Journal, would steer only 18% of benefits to poor families. 29% would go to families with incomes 3 times the poverty levels, plus people with households with higher incomes yet would get more also. And that's the reason is
The rich get richer.
the rich get richer, but it's because their kids in that household, their kids are the ones that get the minimum wage jobs,
Yep.
and somebody working 2 jobs or 3 jobs.
It goes to the argument of there's a lot of folks out there saying, hey, listen, this doesn't really help the people you're trying to help. What you're doing is you're helping a high school kid
Yeah.
or
Or
somebody like that,
or the
make more
stay-at-home
money.
mom or dad, not the primary breadwinner,
Or not the primary
But
breadwinner.
hey, the kids are in school. I get the kids off to school, and I go in and work, at Starbucks till 2:00 or something, and then I'm back to pick up the kids from school. I'm sure that happens.
Yep. And so then, but that income, that household income is already above the poverty line.
Yeah, and the person is probably, a lot of cases, the person might even be doing a job just to have something to do. It's not totally necessary for the household to get that.
Yeah. So I mean that is what some of the argument is that, but hard to tell that to the, what was it? What did you say the other percentage was? 13%?
18% of the benefits go to poor families, so somebody at the poverty line or below.
Yeah.
I would assume is what they meant here.
I'm sure to those 18% though that get a $1.50 increase that are in that poverty line, that probably feels pretty good.
Yeah. So it's hard to target programs at specific households. Because it's just such a variance across the whole country.
Well, and then once the program's out, then what happens is you have people who target their behavior anyway. So if you have people who are more beneficial not working and being below the minimum wage, then they go that direction. And if you have,
this is what the article talks about, is that when you raise the minimum wage, well, it's benefiting people that are higher income, and really the people below the poverty line, because of the other programs that are out there, they choose not to go to those jobs also because they still can't make enough. The cost-benefit ratio is still such that, well, I'm going to continue to receive my assistance payments, whatever they might be. The article goes on to talk about that we really should be considering alternative policies to raising the minimum wage, which is like the earned income tax credit, which means you get the tax credit if you work. And it should really encourage that versus handing out higher minimum wage, let the business decide how much they're going to pay for somebody. And, give people a credit for working. That's a better benefit than raising the minimum wage.
Yeah, it never. There's no clean out on any of this.
Yeah, because we've talked about that before, where some places are going to decide to just automate things.
Well, but then you're going to have somebody come in from a sociological point of view and talk about what the cost to the economy is of having women who are the only caretaker of their children working and having no supervision at home.
Yeah.
And then what the cost of that becomes for the fact that these you have children that now aren't being supervised, aren't being nurtured, aren't being educated, are left to themselves, and then sometimes can, when unsupervised, go down the road of deleterious behavior and wind up becoming,
like me.
Yeah,
like me. I'm kind of an expert on stuff and not really have any clues.
So there's a cost to that.
It's a lot of sociology enters into this, I guess, and it's hard decisions to make.
So always having a primary care parent work, has a downside to it too.
Yeah. But again,
if their children are left unsupervised.
But again, you could look at it from this aspect: is that if the person is working, they have an opportunity to definitely improve themselves. If they can get in the door at a place and work hard, and somebody notices them, they can improve their spot. And rather than, hey, I want to own a home someday, or I want to move here, versus living where I'm at just to rent, whatever, it provides them that opportunity. So that's the other side of the coin on a sociological basis also. So yeah, it's social engineering. It's always fun, right?
All right. Well, we're gonna hold off on how stupid we are later. But there's one.
Everybody knows that already, I guess. Maybe.
Here's
2
last
minutes?
2 minutes. I want to talk about mortgage risk after the ability to repay QM law. Now, I don't know if this article is that great an article, but I love this. I'm doing this just for the dramatic entry of this article.
Okay.
The prose here.
Okay.
Entire forests have been felled and tankers of ink spilled because of the Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act.
Sounds like a Led Zeppelin lyric or something.
What
was that? Say that again, the beginning.
Entire forests have been felled.
Can you just hear that?
Tankers of ink spilled.
Can't you just? That's like a
Because-
Led Zeppelin lyric.
That's like a love lyric. Is what that is.
Stairway
And
to
a bustle
heaven.
in your hedgerow.
Yeah, bustle in your
love,
hedgerow.
Sprinkling of
love
the
in my
making.
expression of love for you.
Yeah.
Forests would have to be felled, and tankers of ink would have to be.
And I'll get bustle in my hedgerow.
Gosh.
Yeah, there we
Anyway,
go.
so
Okay.
Cut to Robert Plant yowling in the background.
a hefty 2,000 plus pages. The Dodd-Frank Act sought to fundamentally alter the residential mortgage lending, and basically this article. I just wanted to read that, but the article was about how it didn't help.
Okay.
Basically, we're back to square one. We still have all the same risks we had since the
That's
beginning.
fancy.
But,
it was fancy writing.
but what
fancy writing there.
Yeah. I'd like to see them do some ciphering too. I think
Yeah.
they're good at that too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're on to the break, and we will be back, and we have more stuff about what was it you said we are?
I just
really know?
realized how stupid we are.
Okay, good.
Okay.
I can't wait to find out.
Okay.
I think I'm sophisticated because I'm living my life like a good homo sapien. But all around me, everybody's multiplying and they're walking around like flies, man.
Our own radio station, not Fargo, not the Twin Cities. Proud to be Bismarck and Mandan's own SuperTalk 1270.
I met her in a club down in Old Soho where you drink champagne and it tastes like Coca-Cola.
That's one I haven't heard for a while.
She walked up to me and she
That's one of those. Everyone sings along with it though as soon as
Yeah.
it comes on
Yeah.
here at a party, right?
she said hello.
Back when I used to party,
Yeah.
before I was a mortgage
Not
nerd.
anymore. Yeah.
I'm glad I'm a man, and so's Lola.
Okay, so how we've been putting people off. Apparently, we didn't know how stupid we were, but
Yep.
now we know.
Yep.
Which knowing that I knew that I was stupid, it will be nice to know how stupid I am. So
Yeah.
please.
Okay. All right. Okay. This was written by Morgan Housel. He writes for the Motley Fool. He's an investment guy, I guess. But anyway, he wrote this article. I'm just now realizing how stupid we are. He's written 3,000 columns, and this was his what he's writing about for his 3,000th column.
3001 was Insight Day.
Yep. I mean, actually, a lot of these make a lot of sense when you think about them. He said, first one, I've learned that changing your mind is one of the most difficult things we do. It's far easier to fool yourself into believing a falsehood than admit a mistake. Okay? People are terrible at predicting their own emotions. You will be more fearful when the market is crashing and more greedy when it is surging than you think. I'd probably agree with that. Mm-hmm. Yep. This is an interesting one. He says, I've learned that strong political beliefs in either direction limit your ability to make rational decisions more than almost anything else. Strong biases aren't good. He's also learned that debt can cause more social problems than some drugs, yet drugs are illegal and debt is tax deductible. That's interesting.
Which just probably goes to show you there's a big conspiracy behind the whole thing.
It could be, yeah. Okay. Okay, well, the financial guys aren't going to like this one. I've learned that finance is actually very simple, but it's made to look complicated to justify fees. Ooh. Okay, that's a tough one.
Ouch.
Okay. I have learned that people are twice as biased as they think they are, which is precisely why biases are dangerous. I've learned that unsustainable things can last years, even decades, longer than people think. Think about that. I'll take that back to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Mm-hmm. We people, if they listen, they know what our viewpoint is. Okay, so they worked for decades, literally. That worked. But are they really? Is that really a broken model or not? Did that last? That unsustainable thing last longer?
Well, now we're
than
being
we
told
thought
it's
it did?
unsustainable.
And that would tie in with this.
But it seems to be working.
It seems to be working again, maybe.
Yeah, it's unsustainable as it is.
This one I've learned that those who think it's different this time are the four most dangerous words are wrong. It is always different this time, as no two recessions, recoveries, or market cycles are alike. What's dangerous is assuming the future will perfectly resemble the past. This was the whole market crash 2008. totally different than anything else. It was based on housing bubble, whatever other reasons you want to call.
There can always be principles, but for sure they're different.
Yep. Okay, I like this one. I've learned that journalists need to write far exceeds the number of things that need to be written. No writer can say to their boss, "There's nothing important to write about today," although it is the truth most days, he says. Okay, here we go. We're talking about pundits. Bill Bodner, our favorite pundit, I guess. We'd say Elliot Eisenberg, one of our favorite pundits. I've learned that no one cares how accurate pundits' forecasts are. Those who listen to pundits are most interested in having their own views confirmed. Accuracy is an afterthought. Well, we'll see about Bill, how accurate he was. He's doing good so far. Let's see. Okay, I've learned that there's a strong correlation between knowledge and humility. People who spend 10 minutes on Google studying monetary policy think they have it all figured out, while people with PhDs and decades of experience throw up their hands in frustration. The more you study economics, the more you realize how little we know about it. That's probably true.
Well, that goes back to, isn't it Malden who continues to print the stats on the fact that the weathermen are more right than economists?
The economists? That's scary.
That typically the economic forecasts are, if anything, consistently unreliable.
Yeah. So, the weather guys get to say, well, there's a 50% chance of rain, and they're never wrong really, because it didn't rain. Told you there's a 50% chance it won't rain.
And no matter how you say it, the other side's true.
Right.
There's a 50% chance it will rain.
Yeah.
Which means I'm also saying there's a 50% chance it will.
Yeah, so there you go. Okay, I've learned that data can do more harm than good. There is so much data available today that you can convincingly prove almost anything by cherry picking with industrial strength. This breeds confirmation bias as people start with an answer, then find data to back it up.
And I'd love to say that we're more actualized in that in our research centers when we're trying to figure out. But I remember when I was at the University of Minnesota, and I was in research department, and that is exactly the process you used. Mm-hmm. You committed yourself to a doctrine first.
Yeah.
Then you went about trying to prove it.
Find stuff. Yeah.
And then whenever you got data that resulted in not confirming your doctrine, you must have designed the study wrong.
Yeah. 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 So
it's not that the data's correct; the study's flawed.
Yeah. Yeah.
My methods are flawed.
Okay. No, here's something. Your best natural edge is that he's learned that a willingness to wait longer than other people is your biggest natural edge. If you can think about the next 5 years while everyone else is fixated on the next 5 months, you have an advantage that makes high frequency trading, insider tips, and corporate loopholes look like a joke. That's probably true. I would say it is a great advantage if you can be patient and look forward. That is your
because could you imagine if you piled up money and you waited till the market hit 7, and you spent it all then, and now where would you be?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Market went down to 7 in 2008 or whatever it was.
4 or 5 years.
Yeah, 5, and we're now 6 years later. It was at almost 17,000. So yeah, more than double.
I mean, I guess that would be an example. What's funny about that is that anytime certain strategic principles cross over all areas of decision making and survival. So, for example, that exact principle is the same principle of one of the most effective fighting styles on the planet too, which is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay.
If MMA, and a lot of people don't know, I was an MMA fan and was a commissioner for the state of North Dakota for mixed martial arts. And one of the reasons why Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is such an effective discipline in terms of defense in a one-on-one fight is because really what you do in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is you stall and position yourself and wait.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And you simply wait until the other person makes a mistake.
Yeah.
And when they make a mistake, they pay for it big time.
Big time. So what did two guys do in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighting each other? Pretty long and boring, or
and in fact that was a big controversy in the sport, because when the UFC came out and they first did this, what happened is as everybody learned how effective Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was, the sport got more and more boring.
Yeah.
Because
No attacking.
there was a lot of laying.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people just holding on to
Yeah.
folks. And
sure.
so they started getting into the rules of starting people up and doing things to make the sport more exciting because it was actually losing because everybody didn't appreciate it. And there's legends about how the original Gracie that started this was in a challenge match for days.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause
But in some things, that is your natural edge is to wait.
To
Yes,
wait
it
and then
is.
strike when the clear advantage presents itself.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
then you win.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but those strategic principles move across a lot of it must be true because one of the greatest fighting styles on the planet is based on that.
There you go. I've learned that Winston Churchill was right when he said, "You can always count on Americans to do the right thing after they've tried everything else." Congress is a basket case 99% of the time, but when things are truly at the precipice, it gets things done.
And that was
That's kind of true.
in 2000. You can say what you want to, but back in 2008,
Yeah.
heading into 2009,
Yeah. They did what they had to do.
somehow they figured out.
Yeah.
You could criticize TARP and you can criticize all that other stuff, but
They did some. Yeah.
somehow they all pulled it together.
Yeah.
Sounds like a Charlie Daniels song.
Yeah. Yeah. I've learned that people's expectations grow faster than their wealth. The country is richer than it's ever been. I don't think it's as happy as it's ever been. Okay.
I read a study about that. There's a study out there on happiness that says that once people make over what you need to have a comfortable lifestyle, like about $50,000,
Yeah.
that there's no
That's all I
difference
do.
in the happiness factor
Yeah.
between somebody who makes that and somebody who makes $2 million a year.
Yeah. Because that's what I wanted to get to. I'm happy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've learned that do nothing is the best advice for almost everyone, almost all the time. Just set a course.
Wait,
set a course
right?
and wait, and go back to the wait.
Go back to the
You
wait
set
thing.
the course. Don't change what your plan is. Don't do anything. Okay, and then I've learned that Godwin's law is totally accurate. Okay, you know what Godwin's law is?
I do.
Okay. It's Godwin's rule of Nazi analogies is an internet adage asserting that as an online discussion grows longer, the probability of a comparison involving Nazis or Hitler grow.
Yeah.
That is, if an online discussion, regardless of topic or scope, goes on long enough, sooner or later someone will compare someone or something to Hitler or Nazism.
Yeah.
It was developed by an American attorney and author, Mike Godwin, in 1990.
Yeah, well,
And,
Hitler
I
said that,
I think that's pretty true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
Okay, so that's it. That's why we're stupider than we think we are.
Those are,
That's pretty good. It's smart stuff.
that actually is smart stuff.
yeah.
And there's some stuff on changing your mind that's actually biologically driven.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay,
well,
all
we
right,
are
so
going to go to the
there you
break, but we're going to come back and we're going to talk about housing
Some.
optimism. Why
Okay.
it remains below normal levels
Okay, that sounds good.
after the break.
Sean Hannity, weekdays at 2, only on SuperTalk 1270.
I think I'm more familiar with the David Lee Roth remake.
Van Halen.
Van Halen remake.
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
Well, you know who
I
played
would
on
say
this
more
version?
people.
You know who played on this version? Jimmy Page.
Oh, really?
He's in the background. He's not on the lead. I think Dave is on the lead. Dave
Okay.
Davies.
Okay.
But Jimmy Page, supposedly, he was like a hired guy.
Well, he was a session
studio
musician.
guy.
Yeah.
Session guy.
Yeah.
And he played on the background of this one.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay. He moved on. He did good for himself.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
redeemed himself.
Yeah. A little thing called Led Zeppelin. Yeah, okay. All right.
You know,
He did
you know
pretty
how
good.
the thing Led Zeppelin came about.
Yeah, he's a little
just a
thing,
little thing
called
called
Led
that.
Zeppelin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you could do a commercial with this song. You really got me. You really got the lowest rate, or something like that.
We just, could you? I just think people would respond badly to that.
Lola.
Come to us and we'll work out the kinks for you.
Come on,
rates.
Lola. Yeah.
Low. I just don't think people.
Low rates. Low rate.
I think for some reason when it comes to our business, people are so much more serious about it that any kind of levity regarding the subject just seems disrespectful. I think.
Ryan Barth
Yeah.
has got a much easier job.
He does. You know what? he needs to thank us for taking on the serious
Yeah.
work.
Plus, we're giving him extra bonus ad time right now.
We're probably getting somebody else in trouble.
Yeah, I don't know.
Some poor salesman for the station is going to get a call from
his
account.
We'll pimp anybody out here, right?
Somebody
call into our show for sure.
Call in and we'll tell you.
For sure,
Yeah,
pimp you.
yeah.
Housing optimism remains below normal levels from our friend Aunt Fannie Mae.
Oh, Aunt Fannie.
Consumer confidence about home ownership and general economy have improved over the last 4 years, but return to normal housing levels will still take a long time, according to the Fannie Mae survey.
Of course.
So they did a survey. They went out and they talked to about 1,000 consumers, and the majority of Americans believe interest rates will still rise in the next 12 months. See, it's just saying that.
Yeah.
In the next 12 months, and it deterred hope of home appreciation. So basically,
there you go.
A lot of consumers do understand the idea that if rates go up, it's hard for home values to go up. 55%. So, okay, the respondents expect 55% of them expect rates to go up.
Yeah. So there, if you expect rates to go up and you haven't bought a house, or you're thinking about moving up, are you going to move? Are you going to pull the plug on that? Or are you going to do it? And you're probably going to say, well, no, maybe I'm not going to. So that that stalls whatever recovery there could possibly be, right?
Yeah. On average, they expect prices to increase 2.4% on their homes in the next 12 months. That's down. A year ago, they expected it to go up 2.9%.
Okay.
Only 46% of respondents think home prices will rise throughout the next year, while 10% anticipate a drop. The same question resulted in 57% of respondents expecting home prices to increase, and only 7%. So the consumer confidence isn't increasing regarding home prices and home values and interest rates.
Yeah. Okay.
So let's see. Well, Doug Duncan had something to say about the survey. He said, Doug Duncan is the economist for Fannie Mae, who will answer every important question in the world except for one about Fannie Mae.
Yeah.
The uptick this month.
Doug's from North Dakota, right?
I don't know if he's from here, but didn't he start school at Grand Forks?
Or he went to NDSU, I think.
Yeah, something.
Yeah, okay.
The uptick this month in the share of consumers expecting mortgage rates to go up and the accompanying decline in home price expectations reflect the positive activity in the housing market. So basically, Doug's saying they're related.
Yeah.
There's a cause of what you were just saying.
Optimism, yeah. It affects...
That the soft housing market and these attitudes are directly connected.
Yeah.
So
it's it self-perpetuates itself. If I'm not confident that my house is going to go up in value, if I go buy a new one, or if I've never bought a home before, I'm not gonna make that move, and so it just kind of self-perpetuates itself, and then we just kind of have this muddle through economy type thing, I guess, that we have. So. I don't know. This was just homeowners, correct? Not dealing with rentals or anything like that. And does that play into the effect that if somebody thinks, well, okay, the interest rates are going up, the home prices are not going, the values aren't increasing, and the home prices are still high? Do people look at it and say, well, rents maybe have peaked, and I'm not going to really see an increase? Is it easier to stay put than it is to, hey, I'm gonna go buy a house? Is it easier to just stay put where I'm renting? Because that's probably, I know what I got. I don't know.
It has to, yeah, right. It has to do with what you were just saying about the investment value. I go make this investment, and if I don't believe home values are going to go up, am I going to take this risk? Am I going to put myself, make the change? We just talked about how changing our mind is so tough.
Yeah.
Am I going to make this change when I don't have this mind changer of this idea of big increased values in my home in the future?
And we've talked about that too, that you probably shouldn't think of buying a home as this great investment necessarily. It can be. Mm-hmm. And if you want to be an investor in housing, that's what you should do, is be an investor. But when you're thinking about buying a home where I'm going to live, just treat it more like that's where I'm living. And is that cheaper? Is it better for me to own my own home? Is it cheaper than renting a place? What do I want personally? And then if you still want to invest in real estate, go do it. That's fine. But the place that you're going to live, you should think about it more. That's what it is that's the place where I'm living. Yep. And is that a better option than renting a place? Yeah.
Yeah. The survey continued on. How easy is it to get a mortgage?
Okay. What do
The
they think?
survey showed that 52% of respondents thought it would be easy for them to get a mortgage today. So
Okay.
people are optimistic about the
not bad.
financing
Most people.
by more than half.
Yeah. So today, what do you think from compare a year ago? You think it's easier today for someone to get a mortgage?
I don't.
About the same?
I think the ATR requirements that came down in January make it harder.
Okay.
I don't think it's a lot harder.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think since 2008, the end of 2008, that there's been a single day that's gone by where if you waited, it got easier.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think that it's gotten demonstrably worse since 2012.
Okay.
But I don't think it's gotten easier either.
Yeah. And related, what has made it harder? Do you think, or kept it the same?
Underwriting is the constant implementation of Frank Dodd. Remember we were talking about the forests of trees
with
and
the
tankers of ink.
Tankers of ink. Yeah. Okay.
Up to a year ago, only 35% of the Frank Dodd law had been enacted.
Right.
And so every day that goes by, we get more and more of this law on us.
Yeah.
And every day that goes by, it makes something a little more difficult.
Yep.
So just so you guys so folks understand, in 2012, we were underwriting files at the level we think we were supposed to be underwriting them at.
Mm-hmm.
Well, come along 2013, and Fannie and Freddie implement their 100% data integrity program.
Yep.
Which means they start finding more and more of the mistakes that we all weren't still catching.
Yeah.
Well, all of that puts back on us more and more expense, flaws in the loans that we had to take responsibility for and take back.
Yep.
And so what did we do? We tightened up our process even more.
Yeah.
And now you come into 2014 with the ATR requirements being spelled out that basically says if we can't prove that you could have
Yep.
if we miss anything regarding your ability to repay the loan,
Yeah.
we're back to square one regarding that as well.
Yeah. So you've got to tighten your process because you don't want that to happen, obviously. So.
And when we tighten our process, even unintentional things happen.
Yeah.
So we tighten our process for data integrity. We tighten our process for ATR. We tighten our process for. So now what do we catch? Oh, my underwriters caught something they wouldn't have caught 3 years ago on the borrower.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Didn't
and not necessarily.
This is a fact we maybe would have missed 3 years ago, but we don't miss it now because we're scrubbing so much harder.
Yeah.
And it's something that now winds up becoming a material issue that's going to change your loan approval.
But is it really a material issue? Sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not.
No.
That it really, that may or may not make a difference, right? I mean, it makes a difference today because you have to have that in place. But is it truly material?
Good question. Is this now just being the CYOA to the highest level you can be? Or is it something that's really going to cause you to have a bad loan?
Yeah.
And we don't know.
Yeah.
Because now what happens after you tighten up everything? It's just like anything else. When it's brand new, it's not comfortable.
Yeah.
And it takes a little time operating that way before you loosen up and find what's really important.
Yeah, we don't really need to
that.
worry about that. Yeah.
3 or 4 years from now, your underwriters will go, I guess we've never been called on that, so we don't have to.
But now next year, there's a big thing coming in that's going to be in place is a new
August 2015
loan estimate. It's going to be called. It replaces 2 other documents.
Now, hopefully that has nothing to do with underwriting. So as far as getting a loan, hopefully it won't change.
But process-wise, it's going to add something to the process.
Impact. Exactly. So furthermore, Duncan projected that normal levels of new residential construction, which would be about 1.6 million housing units per year, will not be seen until the end of 2016. Okay. So anyway.
Okay. So optimism is Some people are and some people aren't.
It's not dead.
Yeah. It's not dead. Yeah. But it's not thriving and jumping up and down and doing jumping jacks.
It's not very
optimistic
optimism.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you for tuning in to Mortgage Talk 101 with myself and Mr. Housing.
Dave.
We'll be back next week with more Behind the Numbers.
All right.
And left me in my stately home, blazing on a sunny afternoon.